All right, from our last video, we said we had to go and address the issue. Let's go look again at the front. Rotate this around. We have the tip of that axle sticking out. Now, there's two ways to address this. One is we could go back to the actual axle itself. Notice they stick out the same on each side. And we can make a slight modification to that axle. So what I would do in that case is I would go find that axle. So that's the rear axle back there in the back. We can also find that front axle by clicking on this here. So if I click on that, it shows me where that axle is and allows me to find it by hitting a right mouse click. Let's go ahead and finish that selection there. Find that axle. We can open it. Now, the simplest thing probably to do to modify this dragster would be to come up here and to do a fillet. So I can do a fillet here, and I can put that in at, let's see what a 1 looks like. That rounds it over pretty good. Maybe we'll go half a millimeter. That looks pretty good. Put that in. Scroll out. Come back around here. Rotate with my cube. Yep, we'll come up here, just rotate it slightly, hit a fillet on this, hit the F key, grab that and 0.5 it as well, hit enter, scroll out, rotate around, we'll save that file. As you can see here, we saved it. Then we can go back to our dragster. Again, we save that and modify that part. We'll hit the update, so it updates the axle from the previous modification in the part file. Looks, there it is. Let's do a front view of that and look at it. Now, there's one other issue that we need to consider. These are now rounded over, and they stand a better chance of deflecting that towel. But one thing I forgot to mention is, let's go ahead and do a measurement. I'm going to rotate this here, move it out of the way, go to the very edge of that wing, and come over here to this side. Now, this is kind of important. If you see right here, it is important. You see right here, this says 44.86 millimeters. You can see it probably better over here on the side where it says 44.8602 millimeters. Well, there's a problem. The actual dragster block, if you were to purchase this from Pittsco, to get a standard Pittsco dragster block, that dragster block going from once across the the width of that dragster block is actually 42 millimeters. Here, let me show you from a previous video I did using SolidWorks years ago. Okay, I went ahead and opened up one of my videos I did many years ago, and it talks about the design of the CO2 Dragster block itself. So if you notice up here on the screen, it's 305 millimeters long, 70 millimeters tall, and 20 millimeters tall in the front. This is 70 in the back, 20 in the front. Let's go ahead and watch the video and get the size of it. I'll hit play.
I'm going to go ahead and extrude that shape. Well, the basic balsa block is 42 millimeters across, and I'll just go ahead and key in 42 there, but I want to extend from mid-plane, which is the middle of the actual block here. So I'll go ahead and do that, and there I've got my shape. I'm going to go ahead and hit rebuild at this time, and I'm now going to set a material property. So I'll come down to edit, appearance, materials. Now that typically will come up into steel, so I'll collapse that, come down here to woods, and select balsa, and hit apply. And I'll close that. So there I have my basic CO2 balsa block.
Okay, now we're kind of at a crossroads on what we're going to do about this TSA Dragster block. If I stick with the basic design that I have right here, technically I cannot make it exactly the same because these winglets stick out further than the width of the CO2 Dragster block you would purchase from Pittsco. So what does that mean? Well, I can't have these winglets if I'm going to make this car. I need the winglets if I want to make this car to protect my axles, even though I put a fillet around this axle right here. So here's some considerations. One, let's go ahead and go back to the front view. I can still make this car, but I could not use a Pittsco Dragster block. However, I can 3D print this block. I can also come back and buy other materials, other types of wood, maybe a 2-inch by 2-inch square piece of stock wood that's 12 inches long, or I could have it one custom made and cut and still mill this car. I'm going to just surmise or theorize that we're going to be able to do the two options: 3D print, or go ahead and produce a CO2 Dragster block not using a Pitsco wheel. So let's go ahead and fix this scenario here, and let's go ahead and pretend like we can make a larger winglet and make sure we can see that. Now, one thing that's important to note is that if you look at the competition event guide for Dragster, it doesn't say you have to use a Pitsco block. So let's stop and go take a look at that. All right, I went ahead and opened up the TSA competition event guide for the Dragster design. So let's scroll down and look at some of these important dimensions we've got to be concerned with. Now, you got body length, which is this year is up to, for 2025, you can go between 280 and 292 millimeters. Body at width of axle wheels, which is, you got to have your axle wheels out there, and you got to double check that they're not larger than 75. Let's go back and check our Dragster and see where we are on the size with the wheels. So let's go ahead and hit that. Straighten that out. Let's go ahead and hit a measurement command using the inspect tool. I'll move this over a little bit there. I'll go from here over to there, and that says we're 61.5 millimeters. Well, we're well within that constraint on the dimensions and specifications. So again, just to recap on that, body width at the point the axles pass through the body, you have 32 here. Your overall height is 75 millimeters. We probably need to check that. But here's the big one: the total vehicle width is up to here, which says it's 90 millimeters. So that's including wheels. We were 61.5. So let's think about that for a moment. We can go up to 42 millimeters here, which the guy that wrote this, his name's Steve Price. He was basically basing this off the specifications of where the axle passes through the body. He doesn't say you can't go wider than that, but this is where the axles pass through the body. So let's go back to our design and take a look at it real quick. So again, to validate what we've been saying is that the standard Pitsco block, Dragster block, is 42 millimeters. We saw that from my ancient long ago video on how to make a Dragster shell car, and the block is actually 44.86, actually 42 millimeters. Ours is 44.8602 millimeters. So and again, the assumption is I'm designing with a CO2 Dragster block from Pitsco, but in this case, we don't have to. That's real important. We don't have to use Pitsco block. We can get a custom block made for ourselves out of wood, and we can create it the size we want to create it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and rotate this around in kind of a 3D view. I'm going to clear that out. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go find that Dragster body. So if I click on this, this shows me how to open that up. Well, let's just go ahead and open that up, and I'll come back to this in a moment. Okay, I went ahead and opened up the Dragster block, and let's just double check a couple measurements here first of all, based on what we looked at on the CEG for Dragster. I'm going to go ahead and click on this and come across to there, and that says we are 35.5 millimeters, which means we're half a millimeter above the specification. So let's clear that out. Let's rotate this around, and we'll come up on this. We'll do a measurement from this part of the Dragster block right here to the complementing side over here, and again, that's 35.5. Real important that you know that measurement. Okay, so that's in. So we'll close that off. Now let's take a look at the front of this Dragster. Again, we're going to modify this and extend it out. I'm going to rotate this around. I'm going to go find these features like this guy right here, and I'm going to start taking those fillets out. Here it is. You can see on the timeline right there. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So that fillet's out. Now, there's a sketch in there we got to be concerned about. But before I go further, let me just get that fillet out as well. I'll take him out, and I'll hit delete. Now, the next thing we need to look at is this. Well, that is actually extruded from a sketch. Let's go ahead and show you that sketch. I'll turn sketches on, and I'll scroll down here. Whoops, not mask. sketches, turn that on, and we'll come and find that actual sketch somewhere in here. I'll keep looking. Ah, there it is. So let me go ahead and turn these off right here. So this sketch right here, there's a couple things we can do with this. One, I can leave that sketch in there, which I may very well do that, and come back and modify this sketch. I'm inclined to do that instead. So let's go ahead and get rid of the extrusion that cuts out that angle on the wing. So I'll open that up, just hit delete. So that's taken out. And let's go up here and do a quick measurement on this, rotate that around. Let's get a quick measurement of that, and we'll click on this and come across here, and that says it's 2.4 millimeters. All right, we're going to fix that. So we're going to come down here on this extrusion, roll around on this side right here, and I'm going to modify that extrusion from 2.4. So let's go ahead and edit that feature. So it's at 2.4. I'm going to go ahead and say 4 millimeters. Okay. Take that out to 4. Yeah, it kind of bumps it out quite a ways, as you can see there. That's fine. That's fine. We can work with that. And I'm going to come over here to this guy, click on him, and we'll take him out to 4 as well. So we'll edit that, take it out to 4 millimeters. Okay, so he's extruded out. So now let's go ahead and rotate this up, get a bottom view so I can see that bottom sketch a little bit better. All right, yeah, we can fix this, I think. So what we're going to do is take this point here, and actually I'm going to do a Control Z. So let's make sure we can set a dimension. Hit my D key for dimension. Oops, got to edit the sketch. That'd probably help. So click on this, find out where that sketch is. It looks like that's the sketch. I'm going to go ahead and say edit. Yeah. Okay. So we're probably going to have to override that dimension, but let's go ahead and hit the D key for dimension. And that says it's 5, whatever. I'm going to go out to, let's go out to 8, see what happens. Okay, we extended that out, and this was mirrored dynamically from the other side, so it took care of that. So we're gonna hit OK, finish that sketch out. Now let's see if we can push this over to here. Definitely, I can push that over to there. Let's roll up here, okay, I can take a look like that. And since I related this sketch to that one, it modified this on this side. So let's roll up on this a little bit. Maybe I can tuck this back in just a tad. I think I got snap lock on. Yeah, I do. Snap to grid. Let's see if we can just barely move it over to, yeah, that looks good. That's what I'm looking for. Did the same on this side here. Okay, so let's go look at it in 3D view. And now what I can do is do an extrude cut, and I will select that shape and that shape right there, and I'll say not new body but cut, and it should give me my arrow. There it is. And I'm just going to scroll up about that high. All right, so that took that out. So let's go ahead and turn all our sketches off again. And before I put that fillet in, I want to check it on the assembly. Let's save this file here. Hopefully I got the right file associated with the assembly. We'll come over here to the Dragster assembly, and of course I don't. So we can fix that, and I'll show you what it looks like here in a little while. But suffice to say that that Dragster assembly is extended out past that, and we'll take a look at that here in a moment of what that body looks like. All right, I went ahead and opened up the assembly with the modified block on it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the front view and see what we have. Oh, definitely, you can see where everything is now covered up. Looks good. Let's go to a view where we see hidden lines. So we go up here and say hidden edges. You can see, yeah, that thing sticks out pretty good ways. But we're going to fix that. What I'm thinking is, well, we can probably fix it pretty good. I think we can take a little bit off of there. So let's go back to that block design, which I think is this guy right here, definitely. Let's go find that sketch where we do the extrude cut. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I think it's back here. Let's go look at our views, our sketches again. And I'm going to go back to about right there. I'm going to have to kind of hunt for it here. So let me just page down through there. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we'll do a right mouse click, go ahead and show that sketch. Go ahead and do a right mouse click, edit sketch, roll up here. We can probably tuck that in a little bit. I'm going to say just move it over just a bit. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it did tuck it in a little bit. Let's go ahead and hit the save function here. So we saved our file. Let's go back to our assembly, take a look at it, and let's hit an update on the assembly. And let's hit that update again. Yeah, it did move it in a little bit, so we can see that. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Let's go with that for now. Let me go back over here to that body, and let's see if we can put those fillets in. So let's turn our sketches off again, collapse that, come over here, hit the fillet command. We'll select this guy, and I'll select this guy. And since they're the same, I'm going to try to go over here and hold my shift key down, and I'm going to select this one over here as well, and we'll select this one right there. Let's see what we can get out of that. I'm just going to say a constant fillet radius, and I'm just going to say 1. Let's see what happens on 1. It looks pretty good. Maybe we can go a little bit more. Let's go 2. We'll go until it gives us an error message that says it can't go much further. That looks pretty good. Let's say 2.5. Enter. I think that looks pretty good. Let's go with that right there. So now we've got our modified front winglet. Let's go ahead and hit save on this Dragster block file. Let's go back over here to our assembly right here. And let's go ahead and turn off all our hidden view edges. Okay, visual style. Let's go back to hidden, which is only visible edges. Let's go ahead and update this. Now, I think you're seeing all these sketches still in here because we left that open and turned on in our, oh, I took it out. That's good. So let's go ahead and go front view again. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and I will turn that hidden visual edges up right there again, so I can make sure that that front thing is corrected. Now, yeah, I'm a little bit further out, wider than I probably did need to be, but that little space, that little gap right there may come into play when we cut our axles, because our axles may not be perfectly cut. So we always accommodate for what, may or may not happen when we assemble our dragster and put it together. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to only with visible edges. So we'll click on this. Okay. And let's go look at it in a 3D view here. Well, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Roll up on that a little bit. Yeah, I'm liking that. I think that's looking pretty darn nice. Okay, let's go ahead and save our file. And we'll move on to the next video.